Hey Nigel, it's Coach B here. Just breaking down some of your swings. I want to show you a few of the things that are standing out to me. I'm going to focus on four main parts of the swing: your stance, your load, your hips, and your hands. There's a lot of things we like looking at your swing, particularly you have natural power. I mean, the ball's jumping off your bat in the video clips that we have here. It's your swing's nice and level, which we love, and you make solid contact pretty consistently, which is great. Let me show you the frame by frames of your swing to start, and I'll show you a couple of the swing loops. This is from our last session on Monday. And there's some things we really like here, but definitely some room for improvement. And I'll show you some adjustments that I have written down in my notes here for you. The first thing that jumped out at me was, and it's not a big deal, but I definitely think it could help, is in your stance right here. Do you see how you're kind of standing straight up, upright? I definitely think you could get into a better athletic stance at the plate, pre-pitch, before anything's even happening. A couple of things you could do is get a little bend in these knees here. I know we talked about reaching over across the plate, to get into that athletic stance, to feel it in your knees, to sit in your hips a little more here, have that chest over your toes a little bit, just so that you're ready for that pitch when it's on the way in. I see you before the pitch comes in, you're rocking, you have a good rhythm, which is great. And you're ready for that action. We talked about the car, waiting for the light to turn green when it jumps off the line, the driver's revving the pedal, ready to go. So just to be in more of an athletic stance, so you're prepared for the swing, I think that'll help you a little bit. But that's just something small that stood out to me. The next thing that I noticed here, and I'll walk through the swing again, it looks like you're swinging with mostly your arms, which is something that we see a lot with some of our younger guys. We have to remember that the swing is mostly about the hips, right? Letting the hips fly, the hands will follow the hips. And you'll see it better in the video loop, but just a little too much focus on the arms. For now, definitely focus on the hips and the hands. We'll show you that in the video loop in a second. Another thing that jumped out at me was your load, right? You see how you kind of just step forward, which is not a terrible thing because you're quick to the ball. There's not a lot of, extra movements, which leaves room for error, which is not a bad thing, but I think you're a pretty strong kid, and I feel like there's more power available in your load. You see how your back leg here is kind of just, let me draw on the screen. It's just straight in the back. Right down here, straight, you have a straight leg back here. I'd love to see something where you're, I don't know if we're gonna mess with a toe tap or a leg kick, but something in your load to not only get that timing down, which you're pretty good at, but to also generate power. So when you're in your load, we want to be generating back here in this hip. You want to feel in this back knee here, inside of the foot, almost like you're pinching in the front side and balancing on that back leg. And I'll show you a drill that we could work on later with that. But we could definitely generate a little more power in your load. And I could show you this in person in our next session as well. But that stood out to me as well. And then you also have a tendency, which we've discussed, you and I in the clinics, of you like to drop your hands naturally, which can get you in trouble sometimes. Right here is not so bad. It's a little bit above the belt line, but sometimes you're getting beneath the ball and so you need some pop-ups. And we don't want to be hitting the roof of the cage in the hitting sessions, because that'll be infield pop-ups, or little bloops in the game. So we want to keep a high hand path. Once again, something I'll show you in the video as well. Let's take a look at your couple of your video loops here. Okay, I'll let this play through. Let's keep an eye while we watch this on the path of your hands, making sure they're not dropping, right? Let's see if we're getting any energy in our load. And I also want to focus on your bottom hand, your left arm. I feel like it's locking over the plate rather than getting extended out in front. And I have a drill at the end of this video that I could show you that'll also help with that. The path of the bottom hand, leading with the knob is terminology we use a lot. and you'll see it here. You see the load. We gotta make sure also that foot's getting in the ground first before we swing. Foot down, then hips, right? Hips will pull the hands. Hands will pull that barrel through. So you're kind of dominant with your top hand, it looks like. I would love to see that bottom hand, that knob, lead the way and get extended in front of the plate. You know, we say finish through 3 baseballs before you put it away. Also, you know, things will work out in the clinics. I have another video loop here I could show you. But like I said before, a lot of power here. A lot of these clips of balls jumping off the bat. Here's another one. So your hands are dropping below your belt a little bit here. There's a decent one there. It looks like your hips are reacting to your upper half, like your arms are pulling your hips through. It should be the other way around, right? You're building energy in that back hip and driving that through the baseball, which pulls the hands and extend through the baseball. That's a good swing right there. A little off balance, but yeah, you're hitting the ball pretty hard here. Clean a few of these things up and should definitely help you. So one of the guys I was looking at that was a good example of, you know, something we could use here was George Springer. Let me play this video here. The first thing I want to look at here, and we can get some ideas for your load here. Watch how he's going to build over his backside, right? Build into his hip right here. So watch right around here. He's going to lift that front knee up. All that energy in that backside, balance, ready to come down. When that front foot lands, watch the hips fly open, and the hands are going to follow the hips. Right there. Nice level swing. Doesn't drop his hands. Yes, we'll see it again here. Watch his hands lead the way, though, not the barrel. Knob first, then barrel. Knob right here, then barrel. That's a good swing. Let's see one more time. He's not swinging with his arms. He's driving with his hips. Letting the hands follow. Hips pull hands. Hands pull the barrel. Knob leads the way towards the pitcher. Right there. Watch his back foot here as he drives his back hip through. That back foot's going to drag a little bit, a couple inches. It shows how much power he's getting from his load in his lower half right here. Watch that back foot. Right there, jumps off the turf. Yep. So we'll work on that in the next session. Something I wanted to show you as well, talking about the path of that bottom hand. I said to you before in the clinics that the bottom hand is like throwing a frisbee, right? You pull it back in the load, right? Get it in a back position. As your hips go, hands are last to move, and then they whip forward and they get extended out in front. Sometimes I feel like your top hand dominates and you roll over into your pocket. And this is something we'll talk about in the next session. Watch the frisbee drill here. The path of the bottom hand should be similar to throwing a frisbee. And I'll show a side angle here that should help you. Get extended out in front, let that knob lead the way. Right there, full extension. He's not going away into his pocket to the back wall there. And I'll do a slow motion in a second. This is definitely something we can work on. We'll use the mini bat and we'll go one hand drill with the bottom hand only. So right there, sometimes you finish there and go into your pocket, but watch how he gets extended out in front here. That's what we want to do with our bottom hand. But like I said, we'll isolate our hands in a drill series on Monday. We'll do one hand bottom hand drills only off the tee. That'll really help you. There's another drill I wanted to do that is it's a pinch drill, it's called, where you're gonna pick up your backside, pick up your back leg, pinch it in, followed by the front side. So you hover over it, stay over that back hip, and then get into your swing. I'll show you that in person so I can explain it better, but it just gets more out of your hips, something that'll really help you. I don't want to give you too much here for the first video, but just to review, and you can reach out to me with any questions. My email address is on the screen. A little more athletic stance, you know, before the pitch is on its way, before the load. When we get to your load, we got to find a way to generate a little bit more in your lower half into the back hip. We got to make sure that our hips are the primary action in that swing, and the hands are following the hips, not the other way around. But we'll talk about this on Monday. I hope this helps. And any questions, please send me an email.